Hello, everybody. If you took the over on the 10:15 Eastern start time, Jason, pay the man. Recording live from somewhere. This is one and done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information, powered by the world's, maybe, dare I say, the universe's greatest website. That's drroto.com. I am your humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich, and I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Follow me, and I will smash that follow back button. I believe I'm sitting at 499 followers right now. Yo. Somebody wants to help me get to 500. That's a nice round number. I'd appreciate that. And I will hit that follow back button. But without further dudes, let's get right to two of the absolute best in the business to do it. Starting, as always, with El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. Follow him on X at MC Holland34. The OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do, baby?
What's up, man? This energy, I just know this is going to be a fantastic show. So looking forward to another Saturday. We only got a few more of these before there's a thing called the big, can I say it? The big, no. The NCAA tournament. So, yeah, man. Look, I don't know if I can just clear out here and talk about how close I am to doing something big here. Let's look back at last Saturday, 6th in the King of the Bracket, 22nd in the Big Jam, followed up 3 days later on the 27th, 15th in the Big Jam. The 28th, I was 4th in the King of the Bracket, 28th in the pull-up jumper, and then last night on the 29th, leap year, 7th in the pull-up jumper. Can I get a first place? I went ahead and posted a 27 dresses because I feel like an absolute bridesmaid right now. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it, but I'm ready to go this Saturday.
Mike, I told you, I told you, if you soar with the Eagles long enough, sooner or later you're going to land in the nest, my guy. Let's keep it rolling, man. Let's keep it going. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us, with the guy that is also last in the intros. But damn it, he better be first in your hearts. The Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media, who you can find in those Twitter streets at Fantasy Nav. He is Eric the Blue. That's Mr. Eric Urumup. What's happening?
Man, I am riding high that we got in just under the 10:15 Eastern line. I'm also riding high in the old PrizePicks streets, seeing some nice green screens making their way across there as well. So excited to jump into this 12 gamer, right? We've got a juicy DraftKings slate. We're probably going to post some PrizePicks information for y'all tomorrow once the board is fully populated. So make sure you are rocking with us on Twitter, on YouTube, however you find us. We will get that information to you. We mentioned him by name off the top, Jason B. T-minus 1 minute. He came a minute till the top of the hour, plus 10 or 15 more. Dude, plugged in. The guy knows exactly how we operate. We believe that happiness is a function of expectations, and Jason knows exactly what to expect with our start time. Playmaker 23, little bread, little goat, little money mouth. Love to see it. Mama rocks. Hey, fellas. Hey, Mama rocks. The trio here heating us up. Appreciate all three of you heating us up in that comment section to kick off the show.
Jason dropping the greatest college basketball DFS show on the planet line for us. Man, appreciate that, man. Really appreciate you hanging out with us as always. I know you said we were talking before the show, Jason. I know you were saying it might be tough for you to stay up on it, and we understand that. Where everybody's not watching us here live. If you are watching us, tomorrow, maybe it's a Saturday morning. You're getting up early, you're having your coffee, and you're hanging out with One and Done. Make sure you leave us a comment then as well, just like the guys are in the live chat tonight. Keep those rolling and hit those like and subscribe buttons. We're at 8. We broke 800, everybody. Over 800.
Hey, yo.
We couldn't do that without all of y'all. But, oh, no. We're not stopping because our next goal, you know what it is, right? 27 gazillion. And we are going to get there with your help. For sure. And the kid in the comments, yo, what it do, Ant the kid? Appreciate you
yo.
hopping in there. And Jason is here and
There's
ready
no
to
wowing.
be wowed. Well, I mean, it's
I'm
gonna be
already
tough.
wowed.
I mean, this is definitely a wow job, and there's some more wows coming. Like, wow, where's the value? We'll hit on that for sure. We've got the one and done invitational is back.
Oh,
so, yes, it's
come take my little
it is
$3. Let's
here.
go.
It is here. $3 entry. Couple of people already in there. The link will be dropped into the live chat here shortly. So make sure you hop in there for one and done. For the breadheads.
One and
If you got
done
any
fun.
breadhead,
It
any
was
hoop heads, and
fun.
you're like, yeah, this is fun. We're having some fun over here, guys and gals. Okay, just like Cam's having some fun getting in here. What's up, fellas? What's up, Cam? What it do, man? Good to see you, as always, Cam, in that live chat. Good to see everybody. Let's move on now. After everybody's already hit the subscribe button to this 12-game slate, $15 pull-up jumper, 5K to first, and King of the Bracket, seat number 48, a $30 entry on this one. We've a couple of us. I know I've got a ticket to the $30. Mike, you've got a ticket. I know we're all gonna be in this one tomorrow. The totals on this one, like and seeing over another one over 160, a bunch of them over 150. We're going to talk about some games that are in that 140, mid 140s to high 150s mark. But let's start with the overview here. We're going to go with Eric the Blue to lead us off with the overview of this 12-gamer.
Man, I don't know if it was just me, but I feel like I heard a little Christopher Walken in the old wow job. Another slate here without super expensive options, right? Like we are blessed to not have to face the ED conundrum, and there's only a couple of guys over 9K, but like Jay alluded to in a thinly veiled Christopher Walken impersonation, there's no value, like legitimately no value. So we're gonna have to be willing to dive into the muck and mire of some pretty gross low tier options, but also there's some potential for value to open up. Where we sit right now is looking weird, but there's the Kolek injury news that's out there, right? Like he left that Providence game with the oblique strain. Him out would lead to value like Chase Ross, right? But we don't know yet. And even that's not, kind of bottom tier value in terms of salary relief. So a lot of salary restraints, right? As you're going through, clicking on the core guys, clicking on the guys you want to get in there, not leaving you a whole lot left to play with, and finding myself having to swap off a lot of players that I want to be in my builds as we currently sit. So fingers crossed that something opens up. Mike, obviously that is the storyline for me. What's the headline for you as you take a look at the slate?
Yeah, I mean, I like slates like this. Very little value because then it's like, you got to sift through some things. Makes it real tough. So I love that aspect for it. And if you're able to nail bingo on one of these 3K guys, it can really, really help you. So my main thing here, man, like the three top games, they're kind of weird on this slate. Like you have Arkansas, right, in this Kentucky game on the road. They're always a mess. Like their front court's a mess now that Trevon Brazil's back. Their backcourt has been a mess since the beginning of the season. And then Kentucky's just always overpriced. Then you have Oregon. They're a big dog on the road against Arizona. So it feels like either hard stack Arizona with 2-3 guys or, you just play one of their big dogs. So, it's just weird that the top three games are like eerily, I don't know, if you want to stack these games, like I feel like it's going to be contrarian. The Illinois Big Three is pricey going on the road to Wisconsin. That's almost like a spin the wheel type scenario. So yeah, it's one of those things. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like we got all kinds of stuff going on here.
Gotcha, mute, Jay.
Yeah, you know what? That's like twice in 2 weeks now. We got to work on that. I got to get my mute button person back in order. I mean,
the little green man.
It's so hard to find good help,
It's all going to the graphics, all of the budget. Sometimes it just don't. Anyways, chat is on fire as always. Ryan in the chat. It is the weekend. It's the freaking weekend, baby. I'm about to have me some fun. Appreciate you hanging out with us as always, Ryan. Cam's in the $30 twice already. Yeah, we're all going to get in there. We're all going to be in there. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on those notification bells so you don't miss anything that we're doing. Let's get right to the showcase. A 4-gamer tonight. You know, we like to do lip reading the wow job. Yeah, so wow, we got to Illinois and Wisconsin, 159 points total here. So we got Wisconsin 1-point favorites at home against Illinois, 159 point total. Big time pace up for the Badgers. Illinois gets up and down, 60th in the country in tempo. First time these teams are meeting, Mike, and only time they will meet this season. Illinois is on a 7-man rotation, but the big three play 30-plus minutes.
You love a big three, right? Wisconsin 6th in defensive efficiency. Just kind of weird because they, as far as the Big Ten play is concerned, cannot stop the three ball and having a little bit of time inside the 3-point arc. 12th in 3-point percentage allowed in the Big Ten, 10th in 2-point percentage allowed in the Big Ten. And yes, I just mentioned it earlier in the overview, like the big three here, it's kind of pricey, right? It starts with Terrence Shannon, obviously elite tournament type play, 8,400 here, massive rates, is really kicked it into high gear here. Put up a 42 last time. If you kind of cancel out that dud that he had here against Iowa, which was really weird, he has been basically 40 points or more in 4 of the last 5. So Terrence Shannon, absolutely for tournaments. I'll take a shot or two. I don't know how popular he's going to be because there's a lot of guys in this 8K range that can really get things going. So, if you can get him, sub 15%, that would be excellent. It is a tougher road environment. The total 159, I would take the under on that. But when you're looking at like who's going to score the fantasy points on this Illinois team, it's definitely their big three here. So Coleman Hawkins sitting here at 7,800. The guy just does everything well, right? The usage rate and shot rate are at 20%. His combined rebounding rate's 20%, a 15% assist rate, 3% steal, 3% block rate, 39% from 3, which has been a huge, huge bonus for this team, taking 122 attempts. Also, another tourney play. I think I'm really using this Illinois side as a one-off scenario. If you feel like this game's going to go over, I would play 2 of these 3 guys. Because the Wisconsin side, which we'll get into in a minute, is a little bit cheaper to get a run back option or 2 if you decide to heavy stack this side. or heavy stack this game. Marcus Damas, the last guy of the big 3, 7,500. I love him in tournament fields for sure, large field. A guy that can go for 40 at 7,500. You always love that. High usage, high shot rate, can do a little bit of rebounding and assists. Hasn't shot the ball well from 3, but we know he's capable of getting to that 40 fantasy point mark for sure. So really outside of these guys and just picking one, I don't have a lot of interest on this Illinois side. Like Ty Rodgers at 5,500, he just doesn't play enough minutes. So I'm not really on him. He's a guy that really gets it done by rebounding, getting some assists. So, probably crossing him off the list. I'm really going to be looking at Shannon, Hawkins, Damask, Eric. Of those 3, do you have one that you would pick? And anybody else on this roster you are intrigued with for tomorrow?
Oh, man. For the latter, I guess we can talk about Quincy Guerrier. That kind of answers your question in terms of whether or not I'm intrigued by him, because honestly, I'm kind of not, right? Like with those big 3, everyone else outside of them just kind of aren't playable with the minutes allotment, right? His most run that he's gotten recently was in that last game where he played 25 minutes. He's frequently in the mid to upper teens, which just isn't going to get it done at 5.6K. Like that big 3, they're soaking up so much usage. So they're very much so the priority, right? Terrence Shannon you have to feel pretty good about him on any given night with that 27% usage rate. And he's not that much more expensive than a Hawkins or even a Damask, right? Yes, salaries are tight. There are going to be plenty of builds where I start with Shannon in there and I have to fall back to Damask because I need to free up some salary. But at least, with my intentions heading in, I would look to start with Terrence Shannon, which actually cues us up perfectly for tonight's poll. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know. There's going to be a poll kicking off. Which of these Illinois pieces are you prioritizing? You're more of a Terrence Shannon kind of guy. You're feeling Coleman Hawkins, maybe Marcus Damask. For those that didn't see it, Marcus Damask is on our cover, on our thumbnail with his tongue out.
Dude, that gives him an extra 1x.
Oh, yeah.
Extra 1x on tomorrow's
if
slate.
nothing else, it'll get him some more votes in this poll. So if you're watching on YouTube, definitely let us know how you're feeling about the Illinois side in the poll. If you're not watching on YouTube, get over to YouTube so you can do fun things like participate in our polls.
That'd be nice. Would be good to really run up some numbers here and see what y'all are thinking about who you will play on this side. The $900 haircut off of Shannon really is appealing there with Damask's ceiling. But let's move on to the old Badgers. Going to put you in a mansion somewhere out in Wisconsin. 6-man rotation, Mike, for the Badgers.
Illinois defense, 7th in defensive efficiency. They're 13th, so second to last in the Big Ten in 3-point percentage allowed. There's going to be a lot of 3 balls knocked down in this game, which is why I believe this total to be close to 160, at least on KenPom. So I think for me, Stephen Crowell is that dude, right? Like, a guy that can shoot threes, can also rebound. He's your big man, right? Can also create a 14% assist rate. At 6,900, has 35 to high 30s upside. I think he's interesting as a run back. Obviously, the most expensive of the guys that you want to get to on this Wisconsin side. So the ownership probably not going to be there, especially when you got guys like Tyler Wall, AJ Storr below him. Now, you're only saving $300 when you go down to Wall, but I mean, Wall is a guy that he has flashed mega potential over the last couple of years. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's just Crawl's emergence and obviously AJ Storr taking 1,000 shots a game. He just does not have a ton of ceiling. So Tyler Wall in the large field setting, if you want to take a shot and hope that he gives you like that 42 piece that we know is in there somewhere, I don't mind it. I'm not going to recommend going to Tyler Wall as any type of like core play, but as a secondary type run back option, as a one-off, I could see it happening and him being on a winning lineup. I mean, most recently, like he's been living in the 20s, put up a 30 a couple of games ago. So at 6,600, we know he's got high 30s to 40 fantasy point upside if everything goes right for him. AJ Storr is probably the most intriguing for tournaments to me just because the guy just shoots the ball a ton. Now, his minutes have kind of been down recently, so that's a little concerning to me, but he's still taking a ton of shots. The thing that really gets him there is when he falls over these rebounds, when he happens to pass the ball every now and then, get an assist or two, that's when you start to see these 30, 35, 40 fantasy point games when his shot is on and he's actually collecting some rebounds and getting an assist or two. So AJ Storr for tournaments at 6,200. He has to be in the player pool. Completely burned me on one of my lineups. I basically play him. If he's on the slate, I play him at this point, at least one lineup. And I'm usually playing, anywhere from 6 to 20 entries, depending on the slate. So AJ Storr for sure. The rest of these guys, Max Klesmit, I don't have any interest at 5,300. I think John Blackwell at 4,500 has a little bit of intrigue here. He has showed out pretty well this year. He's going to be a nice player for them next year. At 4,500 we're starred for value as a stacking partner. He played 23 minutes last game. I know he's been living in the teens, more of a secondary type piece. Obviously somebody would need to get in foul trouble. Usually gets those Storr minutes that if Storr's not shooting the ball well, Blackwell will come in. So definitely not a priority as far as punts, but he's on the value board. So that's kind of what you can say a lot about this Wisconsin side. Like, it's more of secondary plays and large field tournament style plays. Their lead guard, Chucky Hepburn, man, I think you like him a little bit. What's the story with him at 6,700? Is he your favorite play of all these guys?
I would say I damn near love this man, both as a DFS play, but also as a person. I'm sure he is an endearing and lovely young man. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this Saturday slate. And on this Saturday slate, Chucky Hepburn, he occupies that beautiful space where he's just a couple $100 less than the price king on the Wisconsin side, but several $100 more than some of the other viable options, like you talked about in Wall and more so with AJ Storr. So I think he's going to largely be overlooked. I love him in tournaments for that. His rates on the year are kind of weird. Like he's got a 16% usage and shot rate, rebounds the ball well for a guard, 13% there. A lot of these lower rates just have to do with the fact that like he completely disappears from games randomly, and then in other games he'll flip around and shoot like a dozen shots, right? Like this last game where he put up 38 fantasy points. He took 12 field goal attempts. 2 games ago, 44 fantasy points, 11 field goal attempts, right? So like, the games where they're relying on him to shoot and he takes more of those shots, he can definitely reach that ceiling. And like Mike mentioned off the top, Illinois 13th in 3-point percentage allowed. I think that really helps Hepburn in particular. He's taken almost 100 threes on the season, but he's only shooting 30% from downtown. So if we see some of those early shots go through, maybe he gets the green light to keep chucking them up, and then Chucky Hepburn becomes maybe one of my favorite tournament plays. So I really like this Wisconsin side in general, right? Like the pricing gives you a lot of different ways to attack it, but Hepburn might be my favorite.
Can't you see Chucky just like getting hot and going like 5 for 7 from 3, and then just doing a little bit of everything like he always does, and then you get there. Like it could definitely happen. Good stuff. I like Chucky as well, and Storr's just such a you just know he's going to shoot the ball, but man, like it's just.
Yeah, Ernie only.
Yeah, no kidding. Live chat still on fire. Jason B asking, got a fever. The only prescription is more cowbell. Wow. Good stuff in there, Jason. Then Scott Harris, our guy Scott. Good to see you in there, Scott.
Scotty.
Always dropping the fire emojis in there. The thumbs up. We appreciate you, Scott. Always rolling through and hanging out with us. If you're hanging out with us for the first time or for a long time and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you doing? Do it for your broskies. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe and hit those notification bells, as well as we move on now to the next game in our showcase, which is Kansas on the road at Baylor here. Kansas 5-point dogs on the road at Baylor. I had to look at that twice just to make sure. I mean, this is
road games in the Big 12, man.
Road
You're
games
getting
in the
points,
Big 12,
basically.
right? 5 points, 147-point implied total here. Pace up for Baylor at home. Kansas gets up and down. We know that, but they also play a lot of defense. But there's gonna be some points put up in this one, for sure. It's gonna go over what they played at last time. I feel like Kansas winning 64-61 at home. Dickinson went for 15, 7, and 7. My guy Harris went for 14, 1, and 5 dimes. McCullough didn't play in that one. He's not playing on Saturday. He didn't play in that one either. So kind of an indication there for Baylor. Misi went for 21 and 8, and Walter went for 17, 8, and 3. An 8-man rotation for the Jayhawks. Starter seeing heavy minutes, but again, Mike, as I mentioned earlier, McCullough is out again. So what does that mean for the Jayhawks?
Yeah, and he might be out for the season. So this is a major blow for this Kansas side. It's college basketball though. Hell, he might play tomorrow. Depending on this reporting, always sucks. But no, I mean. Yeah, he should be out. Hunter Dickinson sitting here at 8,800. He's got to do so much for this team now without McCullough. I mean, 15, 7, and 7, like that's 29 PRA. Like you're staring at, a solid game at 8,800. I mean, that's not anything that I'm gonna like jump up and down about. Tough, man. The tough spot. Baylor's 9th in defensive efficiency in the Big 12. They give it up inside, which is where he makes his leaving. They're 12th in 2-point percentage allowed, and they're 11th in 3-point percentage allowed. So he's got an inside-out game, 33% on 55 attempts. So we can't stretch the floor a little bit. What you love is the rebounding. What you love is that he'll block a couple of shots. You love that the offense has to go through him. Without McCullough, they're lucky they have Johnny Furphy on this team, and he decided, like 2-3 weeks ago to absolutely explode. So Furphy here at 7K. Yeah, he just absolutely like at 7K when he showed up, it was like, oh man, now they have, another option that they can go to instead of Dickinson and McCullough. And now with McCullough out, there's Furphy sitting here at 7K. I locked him in at 6,500 the other day. Only 26 fantasy points, but you had a little bit of foul trouble in that game. and pay attention to the usage rate and shot rate, because there's going to be, as Brody, I guess he likes Furphy here, is going to see more shots. He's going to be up living in the 20% usage, the 20s in shot rate now. Rebounding rate's going to go up a little bit just with the opportunity. McCullough did so many things defensively and on the glass for them. So shooting 38% from 3 on 96 attempts. So he's a Furf dog, and we're going to go to him here at 7K. So DeJuan Harris at 6,200, always interesting for tournaments. More of a cash type play. So if you're playing cash and you're building out like mid-tier lineups like DeJuan Harris, you probably just slot him in here and take your 24 to 25 fantasy points. Every now and then in tournaments, although we haven't seen it as much this year, he will pop off for a massive game. Lower assist rate this year, and he's going to have to take more shots. And we hit that. We hit those points the other day by 10.5 the other day. Eric had a nice little call there to get us, or was it Jay that got us to 12 points. So DeJuan Harris, he has to do a little bit more offensively. Nick Timberlake is now 5,100. That was an absolutely terrifying adventure that we went on the other day. Thought he broke his back like Bane with Batman, but came back. Yeah, spinal. Came back out on the court. Was able to get us 19 fantasy points. He made one shot, 1 for 9. So I guess if you're looking for a little more upside at 5,100, it's there because he hits one more shot, you're at 4x. So I guess Timberlake kind of on that. You're on the fringe with value, but you're not feeling great with the putt. It's a little bit longer than what you think to make this thing. So, yeah, I mean, KJ Adams is there, Eric, but I feel like KJ Adams and DeJuan Harris kind of the same, right? Like the upside with this Kansas team is really with Dickinson and Furphy. Like, who are you picking between Dickinson and Furphy, and what are you doing with KJ Adams?
Is a very good way to describe KJ Adams. Look, I think he's pretty solid from like a cash context, right? Like you look over his game log, he's hit exactly 4x in 4 of the last 5 games. Now that this rotation thinning out a little bit, Adams is absolutely going to have to contribute more offensively than he has been through the majority of the season, and that's really what raises his floor. But I mean, to your point, like I don't see enough upside here to really get excited about him in a tournament context. I certainly don't see enough upside to prioritize him over Hunter or Furphy as well. So I think KJ is really someone to consider if you're playing the single entry, playing some small field, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, 6.7K, I would look at some of like the Wisconsin guys and the upside they offer around that price range before I clicked Adams' name.
Who's not into Timberlake? It looks like our guy Jason, who's still hanging on the live chat, said at 5.1K Timberlake, not gonna be me. He ain't doing it. He's not.
Oh, Jason, it's like you're my mirror. I feel the same way.
He's not hitting that button. The Mama Rock's hopping in. Never thought I'd hear. Better be glad they got Furphy. Yeah, well, right. Furf dog, just like Mike's dog Rhodey's a Furf dog. It's hard to not kind of get excited and want to ride that wave. It's a 7K flat. Yeah, throw the shot rates out the window, obviously, but we'll see if he gets on the heater. He'll shoot a few threes, right, and get it up there. Baylor, though, what else do we get? All the comments? Yeah, crazy year, Mama Rocks, for sure. Baylor, those Bears, 5-point home favorites here, 7-man rotation. But Eric, gonna come right back to you here. 4 guys. 35 minutes. This is the old wheelhouse, as we like to say, right there. We know who's going to play for Baylor. It's just, what do we like to say around here? We like to spin that wheel a little bit, every once in a while. So sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you got to reach up for the Baylor Bears, spin the wheel, and pick one of these guys because somebody's going off, Eric.
Yeah, I mean the benefit that we have with Baylor is it's really a wheel with like 4 names on it, right? So, you have to feel pretty good about, when that name is called, it paying off in spades. Taking a look at the matchup, Kansas, they're 4th in defensive efficiency in the Big 12, but they've had some issues defensively with Dickinson on the pick and roll. So, that potentially creates an opportunity that can be exploited. They're also 12th in 3-point percentage allowed and 212th in opponent assist rate. So definitely a couple of angles that the Bears side can potentially take advantage of. One of the players that we always have to talk about taking advantage of on any given slate is Ray J. Dennis. He comes in 7.7K. I mean, just another like smash cash play type of option, right? Like his rates are super solid across the board, including a 25% usage rate, but he also rebounds really well for a guard, 15% there. He's handing out dimes at a 37% rate. So a lot of ways that he can get there. He does get a tough defensive matchup with Harris. So, that's going to cap his upside, probably take him out of the tournament player pool, but rock solid floor, feel good about smaller fields, single entry, things like that. Looking kind of down the line here, another one of these 4 guys in that tight rotation, Jalen Bridges, he's sitting at 7.1K. So getting a little bit of salary relief off of Ray J. Dennis. I mean, 27 or more fantasy points in his last 5 games. So definitely feels like he's heating up a little bit more. You love the 3-point boost that he gets as Bridges is shooting 41% from range on 136 attempts. So definitely seeing plenty go through the hoop from downtown. Feels like this sets up for another hot shooting night for him. He's an awesome one-off play. You could stack with him as well. I mean, really, like, Bridges feels like he's kind of perennially under owned. So if you're rostering him and he has one of these ceiling games, like he's absolutely the type of player that has the upside to help you win a large field tournament. But also, I mean, he's been so steady lately that you can make a solid case for him in cash as well. So a lot of things to like about both these guys. Probably err on the Bridges side because I am a bit more of a tournament player myself. But Mike, I crossed off 2 of these 4 names on the Baylor rotation, but there are a few more that we need to touch on, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Jacoby Walter, I mean, he had a decent game against these guys. Last time I was sitting here at 6,700. I don't really mess with him too much. I know that he's a tourney option, right? But I just don't really want to go here. I mean, kind of shot dependent here. Not my favorite at this price tag. Jaden Nunn sitting there at 6,600, playing a lot of minutes. Both of these guys are just kind of meh for me. Don't really care either way. Misi sitting there at 6,400, playing a little bit better recently. High rebounding rate, high shot blocking rate. Went out and had a nice game in the last, for the first matchup that these teams played. So yeah, I mean it's okay on this side. I think I'm with you. I would rather go to Bridges. So that's probably my play here. Like I'm Dennis and Cash, okay. Like Walter and Nunn, it just doesn't excite me at their price tags. And Misi, like I've just been wrong on him the entire year. And at 6,400, like where's the turn? I don't really see as much tournament upside with him at this price tag. So kind of crossing a lot of these guys off on this Baylor side, but it feels like in this Kansas Baylor game, like there's going to be a ton of guys hitting the floor here playing 30 plus minutes, 35 plus minutes in this game. So, getting someone like a Furphy and playing Bridges with him on the other side as a 1-1 run back, or just picking one guy in this game because these guys play so many minutes. There's a lot of upside with one of these guys if they go off. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this particular game.
Mike, you got Ray J right there saying, "Sexy, can I get in your lineup?" And you're not gonna let him do it. You're not even letting Ray J in. I'm sad. I'm sad about it. I get it though. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Marty's in the chat again. What's up, comma chasers? That's right, Marty. We're looking for the all comma team, not the all coma team. All commas, no comas for sure. And then Steve Boynton in the chat. Steve, good to see you here, man. Awesome. Thanks for first time checking out the show. It is a big day tomorrow, Steve, and we appreciate you hanging out here with us over here on One and Done. Thanks a lot for hanging out, Steve. And Marty also hopping in the live chat. Moving on now to the next showcase game. Marquette on the road. The Fighting Shaka Smarts traveling to Mike's national championship pick. Creighton, a 150-point implied total here. Another pace-up game for the home team here as Creighton is 233rd in tempo, but Marquette is 72nd. A couple of good teams here. Marquette won they played in late December. It was like a 5-point game, late December there. Kolek had 15, 4, and 8, the most electrifying man in college basketball and entertainment. Kolek, put some respect on his name. Iguodaro had 7 and 16 in that one for Marquette. And then for Creighton, Baylor Shireman had 23, 8, and 2, while being the all-cardio man as well, playing all 40 minutes. And then Alexander, who also joined Shireman, playing all 40 minutes, had 18, 6, and 6. Expecting another tight one here, Mike. And even though 9 guys get to the scorers table for Marquette, the big 3 are playing 30+ in these tight ones.
Yeah, and this is the news that we alluded to in kind of the overview, right? Like Tyler Kolek with the oblique. What's going to happen here? If he's in, he's interesting. Obviously, 15-4-8 last time against these guys, massive rates. Just, 8,100, right? Like Tyler Kolek, 8,100. Yeah, screams tournament play for sure, but it's got to be a little concerning with the injury here. So if he's out, obviously Ross becomes a play, but we're going to have to wait and see because this is I don't even like the Ross thing is kind of scary too. I know he'd probably play high 20s minutes, but I would rather just Kolek be in this game. Feels like Creighton could maybe run away a little bit if he's not playing. Cam Jones sits here at $7,200, $900 off. He had that back-to-back smash spots, the 45 and the 46 that we were pissed off when he was mid sixes and just not doing anything. And then you get DePaul and all of a sudden you're right, and then you come back and you get this Xavier pace-up spot. And then they blow out Providence. So, only a 23 spot there, but still played 32 minutes. That was kind of a committee beatdown for sure. So Cam Jones, I just doesn't excite me at the 7,200. I could see a large field. Obviously, he's got 40 fantasy point upside anytime he steps on the court. A little more shot dependent than I would like to pay at 7,200. Like Joplin and Mitchell sitting at 5,800 and 5,100. This isn't a great spot on the road here. Creighton 4th in defensive efficiency and Big East play. Nothing really as far as the metrics that completely stands out to you. Eric, I know you love your boy Oso, so I'll let you talk about him, man. That price has fallen, so what are you going to do with him here in this matchup?
An ode to Oso. Look, anytime we're talking about a sharp price decrease like this, it's gonna ping on my radar, right? Like he's down almost $1,000 from the last slate. To be fair, like I think it's justifiable, right? He's got a tough matchup against Kalkbrenner, but also like Kalkbrenner has had he's kind of been cooked up a little bit by mobile bigs before, so it's not it's not a situation where I think he can necessarily put the clamps on him. But at the macro level, nobody really is looking forward to facing off against Kalkbrenner. Looking at the last time that they did play, 16 rebounds last time, like you can absolutely smash that, right? Like. With this price, he sneaks into a kind of a cheap double-double, and you're feeling pretty good about the decision to play him at 7.2K. So love him in tourneys, coming in a little bit cold. That's why his price is down, but it's also probably going to depress his ownership a little bit. So Oso's a real interesting way to get into this Marquette side if you're trying to win a number with a comma on tomorrow's slate.
That's what we're here for, right? I'm pretty sure that we are here for the commas, Mike.
No, I don't. I'm not here for. I'm here now. I sit at the top of the, and then it just.
I know. But we've seen those commas, and they're going to stick here sooner than later, for sure. Creighton hit the Bluejays here, Mike. 7 guys checking in. A lot of tight rotations. It's that time of the year. Like, it's just everybody, we know who's going to play, and we know who's going to play big minutes, especially in tight games. This could be a tight one. Obviously, the Kolek news, like you were saying, that is a concern in terms of you would look at Kolek being out. If he's out, and then you're like, oh, well, then that immediately means you got to go to Cam Jones. Well, maybe, but if they're running away with it here, if it just gets out of hand and Creighton sort of takes over, who knows how that goes. So, what about Creighton? 4 guys playing 30+, and Marquette. I don't know if you heard, they play a little defense.
Yeah, a little defense versus in the Big East and defensive efficiency. They got your boy Shaka Smart there, so figured I'd just see what your reaction would be. There it is. All right, so they obviously play some good D, but the pace, right? Like you love the pace up spot for Creighton. Marquette struggles rebounding the ball, but 332nd in opponent assist rate. So, yeah, feel like some of these Creighton guys are going to smash. And when you play 38 to 40 minutes, I don't give a damn what your price tag is. You're playable, right? It's just a question of how do you get to these guys from the low tier, essentially. So, Baylor Shireman sitting here at 9,200. I mean, the guy just puts up 40 fantasy points on the regs. You can lock him in for 40 fantasy points in this one. Just gets it done a myriad of ways, rebounding, assisting, 235 threes, shooting 37% from three. Obviously one of our favorite players over the last couple of years. 9,200 Baylor Shireman, good for tournaments or cash settings. If you want to save a little bit of coin, I mean, $300 less, you can go to Ryan Kalkbrenner. Like, we used to target Oso, and we come on here every time because it feels like Marquette's always on our showcase. We always targeted Marquette the last couple of years with bigs. This year it's been kind of up and down, hit or miss. I mean, he's 8,900, coming off a 40 and a 48 piece. Man, like, if he could just rebound a little bit better, it's annoying. He will block people out and just let Baylor Shireman or Trey Alexander run underneath the basket and pick up the rebound. And it's like, what the? That's why his prize pick prop is like, when you see 5.5 and you're like, oh shit, I gotta smash that. Like, he's 7-1. Like, I need that. And then you just see him like blocking out two guys and letting the guards get the rebounds. It's really annoying. So the fact
he's burned me so many times on that prize pick line.
Yeah, so it's like,
I'm gonna need a minute.
Yeah, I mean, 10 for 10 from the field. Like, I know Oso's going to have a little bit of they're going to have a tough time on each other because, like, Oso can run some point, very mobile, like you said, Eric. Kalkbrenner's just going to back you down. It's going to be a tough matchup for Oso to stay out of foul trouble there, but he's done a good job of that in his career so far. So, Ryan Kalkbrenner at 8,900. I don't know. I'd rather kind of just stick with these guards. Like, I'd rather pay the $300 more to go to Shireman, or I'd rather go down to 8,300 and play Trey Alexander. And Trey Alexander, obviously a guy for tournament settings that I'm going to use a few times here. A 26% usage rate on the year, 27% shot rate, 25% assist rate, 2% steal rate. You know, not shooting great from three. I'm at 32%, right? It's not the Heinrich line, 35%, but 148 attempts on the year. You have to love Trey for tournaments because you do get the price break from the other two guys. He's coming in playing pretty hot. I mean, 38 plus in 4 of the last 5. So, you definitely don't mind Trey Alexander in these large field tournaments for sure. The rest of this Creighton squad, like, it is a disaster once you get past Eric's guy, Stephen Ashworth, who I gave up on after losing tons of money on him earlier in the year, and he finally picked it up, man. So what to do? Do you play one of the big three? Do you play Ashworth and save the coin? What are you doing here, man?
Man, Stephen Ashworth, the poster boy of being pot committed, right? Like, if you invested in him early in the season, you just had to keep going back to the well. And I mean, to be fair to him, like, it paid off pretty handsomely for a good stretch there, right? Like, Ashworth has always been someone that we've categorized as a large field tournament option primarily. You know, with that up and down year is like the first 20 or so games of the season, he was really giving it to you. And then caught fire over these last handful of weeks, was really doing a lot to pay off that price tag. Now over these last 2 games, back in the high teens, right? So, like, you know, part of the reason why he's a large tournament field option is that I don't think a whole lot of people are going to go there off of 2 sub 20-point performances at 6.6K. You know, if you're trying to take like an all mid-tier type of approach to this slate that still has zero value, like, he's kind of a fun way to approach it that way, right? Like, he does get the assist boost. He's got a 22% assist rate. You mentioned earlier, Mike, Marquette 332nd in opponent assist rate. So Ashworth should be able to hand out a few more dimes. He's certainly got the ability to knock down, 3, 4, maybe 5 threes. He's taken 182 attempts on the season. So, those things break in his favor. He's got a good path to paying off 6.6K, but he's certainly a risky option on this Creighton side.
I got a feeling that there's going to be a lot of builds where you get down to the end and you look up and it's almost all mid-tier guys. It's the way that we're going to have to tinker with this and find ways to get some of these guys in.
No, Jay, I will play my high 7K and shove Sean Stewart in. No,
we're gonna give you some big time lottery tickets later on in the low tiers in our tiers to no tears for fears, just tiers. And we'll give you some of those in case you have to cram in the AK.
Hey, the chat wants to know why you're going off screen, Jay. They want to know if you're warming up the vocals for them. What are we doing here?
It's not midnight train to Georgia. I promise you that, Mama.
I mean, he was leaving. I saw it. He's leaving.
Yeah, I had to, but look, I had to, guys. I had to fill up the water. I can't,
The
I come over
pitcher, my
here.
G.
We've got the pitch. Just had the
Jeez.
pitcher over here on the thing. We've got the Austin FC. We've got the Verde on the Yeti.
I
Where's the
love how
Rodney Terry cup?
Yeah, we've shamed Jay from ever using that tumbler again on this stream.
Now here's the deal: is I bought that cup at Moody Center last Saturday, and then I used it for like 5 straight days, or however long. Whenever I bought it,
You gotta get Terry to sign it, dude.
A week and a half straight, and my wife was like, "Maybe use a different cup and wash that one." And I was like, "But I like this new cup." So, anyways,
Rodney Terry touched that cup.
Good. Rodney Terry did not touch that.
It was in his
cup.
presence.
It is not the Rodney
It's got
Terry
his essence.
edition. It is not anything. No, it's not. No, thank you. I'll take it back. Steve in the live chat. Trey probably cooks those backup guards if Kolek was out. Yeah, I mean that's another part of the injury news, right, Mike? And we're not just talking about Kolek's injury news in terms of playing him at that cheap price, but also how it affects the other side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, yeah, Trey Alexander, even Stephen Ashworth. I mean, for sure. Coming in saying, Steve saying we'll find some greasy cheap guys. Yeah, that's what you got to do late in the season. Danger lottery ticket? No.
Ooh.
Cam, we already did that. No, we're not doing the damn Danger dance, not the Danger Zone. And then Ryan saying he talked to DK support. They said value tomorrow sucks in the gym, and all of a sudden hit submit.
Yeah, man.
I want 55,000 tomorrow. Damn it.
Good stuff, Ryan. Thanks for checking in with DK support for us. We appreciate that and getting back to us in the live chat here on One and Done. Hey, I think we should get on that highway to the danger zone. I think we should. Highway to the danger zone. We're doing it. Let's do it. Why not?
Out of control, bro.
Probably so. All right, one more game here in the showcase. Penn State on the road at Minnesota. A 152-point implied total here. Oh, what do you know? Another pace-up spot for the home team. As Minnesota is 200, what are we? I can't see. 200, above 200 in tempo, and 50. Penn State is 51st. But honestly, both, you look at this, they both hover around 100, ranked 100 in defensive efficiency, but they both have absolutely sucked, as The Rock would say, in conference here. Minnesota went on the road and beat Penn State 83-74. Minnesota, Garcia had 22-4-3. Christie had 17-8-5. And then for the Nittany Lions, Baldwin went for 16-2-6 dimes. But let's start with Penn State, I guess, here. Yeah, let's start with Penn State here. 9 to 10 guys. The last time we talked about playing Ace Baldwin, I just totally faded him, and I shouldn't have. I'm pretty sure that was his 50 burger.
That was the 50 piece.
That was the 50 piece. So are we playing Ace Baldwin again? Are we spending down to Rob? What are we doing?
I mean, the weird thing, right? It's like you see Ace Baldwin, it's like he plays 40 minutes. So it's like you automatically assume you just have to jam him in, right? And it's not always the case, right? Like Minnesota 11th in Big Ten play and defensive efficiency. They're 8th in 2-point percentage. They're 9th in 3-point percentage allowed. So just giving it up. 259th overall in opponent assist rate as of earlier today. 270th in opponent steal rate, which you love. Ace Baldwin, one of the best defensive guards in the country. So there's a lot to like with Ace Baldwin at 8,500 because he gets this I wouldn't say haircut, more than a haircut in price here, right? I mean, 9,200 down to 8,500. A little bit easier. Well, I would say a little bit easier to get him into your lineup, but who the hell do you play at, 3,800 or 4,200 to get all these 8K guys in? You can only get so many in. So Ace Baldwin, he's in line for cash game settings just pretty much until the end of the year. At 8,500 for tournaments becomes a little more intriguing. Obviously, we saw the 50, but really kind of been living in the 30s, he's taking a lot of shots. He's not a great shooter, so you definitely you definitely need him to make some shots to really climb his ceiling, but I'm there for it. So, Steve coming in saying Ace is live for 5+ steals. Absolutely, man. Like this, this matchup is prime for him to get 4 or 5 steals here. The rest of this squad, man, like now that we're getting a little bit up and like Kudus Wahab, we hit that spot, last game, the Iowa spot. 28 fantasy points. That's basically, his ceiling at this point. And like, this just isn't the spot for me at 6,500 to go back to him here. Zach Higgs burned me, obviously. One of my better lineups on that slate. I'll go back to the well in tournaments with Zach Higgs because, like Ace Baldwin, he's playing a pile of minutes, has 30 fantasy point upside at 6,200. So, you're nearing that 5X. He's got to make his shots, though, right? He takes a lot of threes here, so you need to get that rebounding. He needs to get 6, 7, 8 boards. Needs to produce a stock or two, and then needs to get back into those mid-30s minutes. Kind of disappointing in the last game. So Zach Higgs, don't mind him as a stacking option with Ace Baldwin. If you're looking to get into this game, this is a game where you can stack 3 to 4 players in this game. You like the 152-point total. Ace Baldwin definitely has a ceiling here. Zach Higgs definitely has a ceiling here. That's pretty much it for me, Eric. Is there anybody else on this squad? They're playing 9 to 10 guys. Like, let's say you on this squad.
I think the guy that we have to talk about among the remaining 6 or 7 that we haven't hit on yet is little Nicky Kern. He's a fantastic pivot off of Baldwin if you're trying to create a little bit of leverage in tourneys, right? I tend to agree. Coming down, what was it, $700? Ace Baldwin's probably going to be a pretty popular option. So finding an effective pivot is always a solid strategy. With regard to Nick Kern, I mean, the minutes have kind of been there recently. Like, yeah, he had 27 in that last one, but he's been rocking in the mid-30s in the 3 prior to that. So, he's a guy that's seeing his time on the court increase. He's a guy that's seeing his rates come up since Clary left the team. I mean, practically speaking, you're creating that leverage with a pivot off of Baldwin. In a vacuum, Kern feels like a little bit more of like kind of a mid-tier dart throw and a tourney. But look, I mean, creating some leverage, getting into a game that has a pretty handsome total, like there are worse plays on the board than Nick Kern for sure.
There's definitely worse plays than Ace at over 2.5 steals at plus 120 on DK, according to Steve.
Don't walk.
Clickaroony there, for sure. Yeah, there's just finding games where you can get in, where you can stack guys up, like everybody just outside of Baldwin, everybody being in that mid 6K range on this team. You get to a couple of guys if you want, obviously, especially if you're making my boring mid-tier lineup like I was talking about earlier. You can definitely get to a couple of these guys in any build. But what about Minnesota here, Eric? 7-man rotation. Starters are playing 30+. Like, it's just one of those. Penn State is not exactly the kings of defense, I would say. At all. So 7 guys playing and all the starters are playing 30, Eric.
Yeah, not the kings of defense, to put it lightly. 10th in defensive efficiency in the Big Ten, 14th in 2-point percentage allowed in the Big Ten, and 307th in opponent assist rate. So allowing people to dish to their teammates, seeing a lot of those buckets go through. And we know, as has been kind of the drumbeat for the whole season, you play bigs against Penn State. Mama Rocks, per usual, a few clicks ahead, she saw that this was a showcase game and immediately asked the $1 million question, who is the Minnesota big? Because that is the matchup that we typically look to take advantage of. For me, at least, we have to start with a player that is going to be in prime position for a ceiling game. That's Dawson Garcia. Like, absolute smash spot against Penn State, right? Like, this is the matchup that we're looking to exploit. Went for about 31 and 34 minutes in that first matchup, so you like his fantasy points per minute output. Obviously you'd want a little bit more than that now that he's sitting at 7.7K. But, I mean, look, Minnesota is fighting to get into the tourney, expecting him to play near, like, max amount of time like he did in that last game. So, I mean, 45-point upside is legitimately on the range of outcomes for Dawson Garcia. And also want to kind of break from tradition a little bit. I'll go over to a guard. We can talk a bit about Elijah Hawkins coming in at 7.6K. I mean, you love the assist boost here, right? He's rocking a 39% assist rate on the season. It is Baldwin defense, which, kind of limits his scoring upside a little bit. Might have a couple of turnovers with the over on that steals line that we've talked about. but Hawkins is out there playing the entire game, right? So floor feels really solid. 37 plus minutes in the last 4 games. Had some ceilings. Had some pops there. Got into the low 40s. You would certainly love that, but Hawkins feels like he's a bit more of a steady, again, kind of cash play, whereas Dawson Garcia feels like it's just smash city. So these are the two that are really jumping off the page for me. Mike, who else is catching your eye here for the Golden Gophers?
Yeah, well, the other big here and has really popped off recently is Pharrell Payne. He's sitting here at 6,700. I mean, I say pop off. I mean, he's playing better than what he had been. Showing some flashes, I should say. I'm in the car with you. I'm driving the Dawson Garcia bus. But Pharrell Payne, like if you want to pivot like Pharrell Payne or do the thing that you love to do, which is play both of these guys.
No.
The double forward here. The thing that I never do. I'm the king of the guard forward stack, and Eric's the king of the double forward, which pisses me off when it pays off. But
it's only like 1 every 10 slates.
yeah, exactly. So
doesn't make it any less.
It doesn't make it any less, absolutely. So hey, definitely don't mind Payne going from Payne to me. You save some coin here, which you absolutely love to see that. So I'm with you on Hawkins. Like, just plays a ton of minutes here. Cam Christie, a little interesting, but not. I mean, more cashy too. I mean, playing a pile of minutes in the last couple of games. Taking a lot of shots. The priority every time you play Penn State, the priority is just to click the big, right? Like, and we try to get cute sometimes, right? We try to get cute to, find a different, it's like, why? We'll just go to the well. Like, just go to the well that has been, baking this bread here. So Cam Christie's there. Mike Mitchell's there too. I mean, it's just not for me, man. Like, I would just rather, you're going to get a ceiling out of either Garcia or Payne. Like, one of these guys is going for 40.
Yeah.
or both are going to have double doubles in that rare feat.
Why not both?
Why not both? Yeah. So absolutely. Why not both? But at least one here. And Dawson Garcia, I'm kind of with you, Eric. I'm with you on that.
Marty's in the chat saying Payne's due for another 40 spot, and to his point, it's you're gonna be lower owned than Garcia. I think
have
Dawson
a
Garcia
lot of friends on that Garcia bus.
Yeah, Garcia is going to be one of the more popular plays on the slate for sure. And how are we going to get different? How do we put together that all comma and not that all coma team? You get a little bit different than everybody else, and Payne is definitely a way to do that. So Mama Rocks and Marty in the live chat hyping that play up for sure. So maybe let's not be so loud about it, unless you're hanging out with the breadheads, and tell everybody, all the breadheads that that Payne at 6,700 is a pretty nice play. So way to go, guys in the chat and gals, of course, hanging out with us. We're going to move on now to the everybody wants to rule the world. Tears for Fears, but no fear, because we're all here with our best plays in each one of these tiers. From the other, these are plays from the other 8 games here as I take a quick drink of water.
Clear that throat. We need more music.
La 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 la.
Ryan saying, hopefully we don't have any more pain tomorrow. Yeah, I don't.
Hey, no pain, only love, as in Caleb Love at 8,700.
Wow.
The
transition.
What we're gonna look back on that. Hey, they don't. I didn't win best host of a YouTube college basketball DFS show that always starts 15 minutes late. I didn't just win that. They don't just hand those out.
They really don't.
They don't.
14 minutes late today.
Or 14. It was 14 because we hit the
progress.
Jason. So, Caleb Love. I'm in on Caleb tomorrow, which is Saturday morning. His price is dropped by $400, so you like that haircut. He went to Oregon and dropped 46 fantasy points in late January. You know what he's capable of, 45, 50 fantasy point ceiling. The usage and shot rates are through the roof because, of course, they are. He's Caleb Love. But this year in this setting, he's hitting his shots. We're going to look back. What I was trying to say earlier is we're going to look back on this as one of the greatest transfers in terms of where he was and where he could have been to what he ended up being. I was down on Caleb Love. I was down on Mike having him so high. I think he was on number 3 on his big transfer board, and I shit all over it. And I was wrong.
And now he's your son's favorite player.
And now he's my son's favorite college basketball player. So I guess that's what I get. Anyway, but him not getting into Michigan for whatever reason was the best thing that could have happened to this guy, and I'm in on him for this slate. Eric, what do you got?
Ooh, where do I want to go here? I'll go with Jameer Akwai Watkins. The future is made of virtual reality. 8.3K for Florida State. I mean, look, like you can make a case for Reeves. You can make a case for Shepard from Kentucky here. Like I love that, those two guys are going to draw a ton of ownership away from Jameer Watkins, right? Like they have on the last couple of slates. So, Watkins comes in, he's got super high usage rate. He's got a really impressive shot rate, and he gets to beat up on that porous yellow jacket defense. So a lot of things to like for Watkins for me. Might close us out here in the high tier.
Oh, dude, like we're really going to do this right now? We're really going to do this Arkansas crap? Here we go. Because this is the other 8 games, and we got to talk about Arkansas's bullshit. So, Khalif Battle. Here we go. Yeah, 7,900. He's going to Kentucky. Dude, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I got him right the other day against Missouri. I didn't fucking play him against Vanderbilt, which was, like, super annoying because he's sitting there at 7,400, and I'm like, I'm not paying 22. I know he went off and took every shot, but I don't even know if he's going to play 38 minutes again. Because of these crazy ass rotations, and Menifield's questionable. You got all these dudes here. I mean, a 53 spot against Vanderbilt, like that's good, right? Now it's Kentucky, and Kentucky, these guys are just gonna be running up and down the floor. So he has to be in consideration in this high tier at 7,900. I mean, he's been putting up 50s. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm gonna go to what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this well tomorrow. There's not going to be any water here when he shoots 3 for 14 and doesn't play much in the second half. So, but yes, Khalif Battle at 7,900. I mean, in the high tier, you have to have him in your player pool. I don't know how often I will go to this well, which may be a mistake, but you can absolutely see people getting cooked by this play. So here we are with this Arkansas crap, which we hate. So. Get me off this mic. Get me off this mic, Jay.
He loves it.
Hey, I'm going to get you off the mic with our guy Corey in the live chat saying he's on the way home from work, ready for the slate tomorrow, and is going to jump into these conference tournament. We had a conference clinch tonight, didn't we? The first one.
Yeah, I think Sunbelt was clinched tonight. I didn't see who it was, but we're planning on. We might just go crazy this March and just do every damn conference tournament preview. We'll see. We're talking about it.
Who knows? All right, Steve, just to clarify, it was also where there's 3 hosts and they all live on the I-35 corridor. That was also a part of the award that I won. So it's very it was a very
niche, right? It's very niche.
Very neat. But that I thanked everybody that I could in that moment. So we appreciate it. Was everybody in the live chat was mostly
Steve's got the crystal ball on how it's going to go for battle tomorrow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude, this comes from experience. Steve has felt this pain before.
He knows. Steve knows what's up. Definitely does. And we're probably all gonna get burned by battle, but that's okay. Who cares? Let's do it anyway. Mid tiers here. Texas 5. Max Asmus, 6,800. What? One of the greatest scorers in college basketball. Who? What? 6.8K? You know he's going to shoot the ball. Like, not a little bit, a lot. And this is a huge game for the Longhorns and the previously
Rodney Terry
haters. Mentioned Rodney Terry and the Rodney Terry haters. Hey, whatever. This is a big game regardless. Asmus hasn't been great lately, I know, but he's got to be in your cash and tournament player pools. Just 6,800 for Max Asmus? Really?
There you go. I mean,
he's averaging 4x for
juicy.
the season at this price. So I mean, think about it. At least in cash, but he's tournament viable as well. Eric, who do you got in this mid tier?
I'm gonna go to one of our favorite cash plays, Mr. Posh Alexander, 7K flat, but he's actually looking kind of juicy in those tournament streets because he gets the absolute dog water defense of DePaul. Right, we've been attacking this matchup all year long. Like I said, Posh is basically a cash lock on any given slate, but now that upside is really unlocked because of that matchup. For reference, the first time out, he put up a 40 spot against this DePaul side. So you will happily take that coming in at 7K flat. Speaking of matchups that we are exploiting, maybe not from the defensive side, but at least from the pace of play, Mike, you might be looking at someone that's running and gunning with Florida tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll look at Colin Murray, Boyles. I'll admit, like I've missed this boat multiple times at cheaper prices. Got it right against in the Kentucky game. So I will say that was one of my better days on the year. But sitting here at 7,200, yes, the pace up with Florida. There could be a lot of guys you picked in South Carolina. Sorry, Jay, I'm going to mention Michi Johnson. But I try to follow the rules, pick one guy in this tier. Sitting here at 7,200, we know that Florida has some problems in the interior with fantasy, allowing fantasy points. So, a tournament play only for me. But Murray Boyles definitely somebody that I have some interest in. I don't know that I don't feel like he's going to be popular. We'll see what everybody does with the South Carolina side, getting this pace up spot against Florida. But yeah, Murray Boyles, kind of interesting large field tourney play for sure. And I love Eric's call. I love both y'all's calls. I mean, Max A. Smith's just too damn cheap. Posh Alexander, honestly, anybody against DePaul. I mean, anybody on Butler against DePaul.
Say anything. DePaul.
Yeah, Jay, we can get you out there for 5 minutes. I think you could get probably 3.5 fantasy points against DePaul.
You're not even going to give me like a steal. Are you thinking just am I going to make a free throw and
how do you think you're getting the 3.5 points? You're going to poke one out, my guy.
The assist and then I was going to give you, the 3 free throws, the foul,
Oh no! So this is where you.
Deshaun Nelson foul, since his foul rate's like out of fucking out of control, and I've lost so much money at it. He's going to foul you. You're going to make both free throws because we saw how you did in Vegas at the regionals there, and then man, there's your 3.5 right there.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, when we were out in Vegas last March for the West Regionals, I had to go ahead and put on a shooting display out in the parking lot of the T-Mobile Arena, right there.
Dude, you almost got a scholarship offer.
Yeah, like on the spot.
You're out there just splashing them.
It was. I had to basically just say, no, I'm not. I can't. I don't have the knees. I'm sorry. I won't waste your time. But now, feeling like I could do it. So maybe, they're all,
especially against DePaul.
The scouts are always watching. I could score 6.5 fantasy points against DePaul.
In how many minutes? You said you can't play more than 6 minutes, 5 minutes spurts, 4 minute spurts.
You think I couldn't score 6.5 fantasy points in 4 minutes against DePaul? Get out of here!
Oh my God.
Get out of here! You should have. I was out on the hard top today, hitting half court shots,
crossing over 8-year-olds.
No, I was. I don't care. And I said good before it even hit the net. I know it was good. I told him that I hit the half court shots all the time. I might just pull up from the logo against DePaul. I would do it.
Bro, Steve brings up a good point, Jay. You're basically the Gabe Cups of 6.5 fantasy points in 30 minutes. You're not even the cardio guy. You're just.
Oh, I am the opposite of the cardio guy. I promise you that much.
Yeah.
I promise you. There's all cardio, and then there's all cardio low, and that's me. I am low down there. And now, speaking of low, let's move to the low tiers. Now, I'm gonna break my own rules here. We know that there's safer options in the higher end of this low tier, that 5,100 to 5,500 range, right? That's not really, you're not going to save the salary that you're going to need, especially if you're cramming a couple 8K guys in like we know Mike likes to. Guys in that 51 to 5,500 range, Spears is at 5.3, George is at 5.2. Not gonna be May. Timberlake is 5.1, and then Reeves is 5.1 as well. You can plug them in there, and there's room for those guys in your lineups. All of them have either been playing a lot lately, like the minutes have been there, or the rates and production has been there. All of those guys. It makes sense to think about those around 5K. But what in the low tier, where I want us to go tonight, these are more of the lottery tickets. The guys like Sean Stewart for Duke, who Mike had at 4K when he almost won. I'm no salt in the wound here, but when you almost won that King of the Bracket seat, you had Sean Stewart in there at 3K. So we're gonna hit you. We're gonna hit a couple of these guys in the lower tier here that are much more of a lottery ticket type of play. That sometimes, if you hit on these are the guys that push you over the top. I'm gonna start with Paul Lewis for Vanderbilt, 3.9K against LSU. I think we got the wrong Lewis there for the production team. We got Paul Lewis there, 22 to 28 minutes in the last 3 games, somewhere in there. 19, okay? 3, don't worry about that little guy. 29, okay? That little guy in the middle, I don't worry about that little guy. He's taken at least 5 3-point attempts in each of those 3 games. And in a pace-up spot against LSU, if you get me to the 16 to 18 fantasy point range at 3.9K, Paul Lewis, there we go. Thank you, graphics team. I would like you. I would appreciate you very much, Paul Lewis. I would like you, sir. Good sir. Vanderbilt scholar, you. Paul Lewis at 3.9K. Get in on it. There's not a lot of value here, but Lewis is definitely an opportunity to get in a pace-up spot and get in cheap. All right, Mr. Eric the Blue, your turn. I broke the rules, so I'm fully expecting you guys to do the same. What do you got here for the low tier?
Well, Arkansas is on the slate.
No.
So, I mean, you know what that means. We got to do, right? We gotta spin that wheel.
Whoa.
Okay. Let's go with well, look, there's 2 options here on the Arkansas side, right? You've got L. Ellis, and then you've got Keon Menafield. Menafield is carrying that questionable tag, might not play, not looking good where we sit tonight. But both of these guys are at a price tag to where you can add some flexibility into your build overall, because we have some questions about Menafield. We'll start with Ellis, right? He's played 23 plus minutes in 10 of his last 11 games. He's coming off a 30-pointer against a bad Vanderbilt defense. He's getting Kentucky this time, so not quite as porous in that front. Kentucky plays at a blistering pace, though. So while they're a little bit more stout defensively, they'll make up for it with the extra possessions. Like we mentioned before, Menafield is carrying that questionable tag, not looking great right now in terms of availability. I mean, if he's out, like Layden Blocker could be in the mix, right? Like then you've got Mark, you've got Battle, who takes up all the usage and is Mike's favorite 2 for 15 play, or according to Steve, is going to put up like a 60 burger tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? So, look, I mean, like, all this is to say that, figuring out the Arkansas guard rotation, especially when it comes to value, is the epitome of spinning the wheel. Where we sit right now, I'll say Ellis, because his name's alliterative and he doesn't have a questionable tag.
We got 2 more weeks of this crap, or like a few more slates of this crap. Like, it's just
right. That's it.
Ride that lightning bolt, Mike. Ride it. I know where you're going. I already know where you're going. Who are you playing for Butler against DePaul? I already know where you're going to go.
Why not, dude?
Yeah,
get the cheapies, dude. Finley Bizjack, dude. 3,600. What are we doing here? Give me 20 minutes. Give me some of the hair. Give me some of the shooting.
With the flow.
I mean, every 3 is 3 point. It's 1x, basically. I mean, I'm going to call it 1x. It's 3,600. Why not? It's DePaul. They suck. Like,
they do suck.
Play anybody on Butler except for Jalen Thomas, who sucked balls when I tried to win the seat the other day. Landon Moore. He's 3,200. Like, he closed out the game the other day for Posh, and then he's out there, for 18 to 20 minutes. Like, why not? I mean, come on. Like, this is like anytime DePaul or Georgetown or Louisville like you just play these crap guys like Wayne Bristol and like all these like sorry dudes that, you know, not sorry. They just, I'll give you this, Bidjack and Lamore. They're going to be good players. I just think that when you have these guys, that a lottery ticket, like you don't need much. Like give me a 16, give me a 17. And I'll definitely, you know, do some work on my other 7 spots when I got all this coin to play with. So I think we got a question here. What do we got here? Any Norman love if Kolick is out? Mama Rock saying Bizjack, no. Don't come on, Mike. Dude, I'm looking for the lottery, bro. Nothing gets the blood flowing like having a G right. Finley Bizjack. Dude, it's got the name
makes
too.
You feel alive.
Yeah, well, Steve was saying too how Paul Lewis in the Hammer game for the seat, sweating every corner 3 will be electric. Yes, this is why we're doing it, Steve.
Dude, absolutely.
You know Steve gets it. You know,
Trey Norman,
sure.
If Kolick's out, I have a little more interest in Ross, but the price tag is kind of annoying at that. What is he, 4,600? I mean, yeah, like I guess it's okay. It just like the value sucks. Can we just get like one? We need like one scratch 15 minutes before the slate where we just go like, oh shit, like we play this guy at 3,800 and then we can do whatever the hell we want on this slate. That's what we really need to have happen. So yeah, if these are all lottery tickets, like we said, if you want to be safer, go play your 5,100 Kawasi Reeves and watch him shoot 2 for 10 from 3 and watch Primo Spears not get off the bench. These guys are a little bit safer, though, to be honest. I mean, we don't know if Finley Bizjack's going to get up more than 3 shots. So, but it's DePaul. He should. I mean, Jay's over here getting 6.5 fantasy points against DePaul. I would think Finley Bizjack could pay 4x to get me some salary relief. So,
yeah,
why not?
Absolutely, especially with that name, one of the best names in the biz for sure. Yeah, Steve saying we always get news on Saturday slates. Yeah, we got to pay attention. We got to be on Twitter. We got to follow all of us, because I'm trying to get on there and retweet stuff and quote tweet stuff, and any injury news that we see pops up. So make sure you're following us all on Twitter at One and Done CBB is the show page. At Get Green Screens is the Green Screens Media, and also the handle for us over on TikTok. Every once in a while we're throwing stuff up for you there. Boom, right there on the bottom of the screen there for you. Make sure you hit those follow buttons as well. We're up well over 1,000 now on the One and Done page. We appreciate everybody for doing that. Get over to TikTok too. We're dropping videos over there as well. Corey, don't you worry about me getting jumped like Cam Newton at his camp. I'll be able to handle myself just like Cammy Camerson did. Don't you worry.
Big Z play, a Visage getting more run. Oh God, yeah. Trevon Brazil at 4,900. His minutes are starting to tick up. Like, foul trouble first game, only played a few minutes. Then he played 17 minutes the last game. I'm gonna be pissed off when Mekhi Mitchell drops another 40 bomb and one. He's gonna be like 1%.
Don't say
he's gonna be 1%. It's gonna be me. It's gonna be me.
It's gonna be me.
So Brazil at 4,900. All right, I'm done.
No, that's cool. That's good. That's good stuff. Let's move on though to the Core Four and more Core Four. You know that we're doing the cash and the tournament plays here. So make sure that you follow along as we're going. Mike's doing the cash game, Core first. And, of course, if Posh Alexander is on the slate, he's in the cash Core. Who else is
it? Yeah, absolutely. So we just got done talking about old Posh Spice sitting there at 7K at DePaul, Smash Cash. Jalen Bridges, 7,100 against Kansas. Definitely love that spot for him. He's just been so good. Man, like the rebounding rates there, the 3-point shooting's there, the matchups there for the 3-point shooting against Kansas. KJ Adams having to shoulder a little more load. He's going to be on the floor for 35 plus minutes. At 6,700, like you just pencil in your 25 to 28 fantasy points and you move on. And then yes, I mean, this is the only reason why I say cash is because the guy, 23 plus minutes, like you guys get pissed off when I leave everyone with 5,200. So I'm gonna leave you with 6,200. I'm gonna tell you to play L. Ellis. It's a pace up spot. It's against Kentucky. It's on the road. What could go wrong at 4,400 when he's been playing 23 plus minutes? So for me, like in cash games, like I'll take a shot. I'm not gonna take shots on like Finley Bizjack and your Paul Lewis in cash. Those are the tournaments, man. I'm gonna take my safe 23 plus L. Ellis minutes.
Ellis is safe all of a sudden?
For the slate, for cash.
You just get all over
I've been
Eric
saying
talking about Arkansas guys.
No.
Ellis is safe?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, to save cash, if you really want me to do this, we'll just take L. Ellis out, and then you guys can figure out who you're playing under 5.5 in cat like that.
You figure it out. Yeah, no, I get it. Ellis is a guy that I'm going to be heavily invested in. I totally get it. And yeah, 6,200 left is a lot there to play around with for a cash core. And again, these core four guys are pillars. We don't want to necessarily have to play them all, but they're people to build your lineups around.
Ellis might not be a pillar, but I'm just kidding.
More of like a doorstop.
Yes, exactly what it is.
Yeah. He's there. He exists.
He's there and does a job. Definitely. Ellis meets those qualifications. And what could go wrong? Like Steve's saying, Musselman takes that personally. She will show us what can go wrong. Definitely. I've watched his rotation.
Eric Musselman, noted breadhead.
Yeah, noted.
Giving him bulletin board material.
Yeah. We've watched enough of Musselman to know that he definitely understands when keeping it real goes wrong. Let's move to the tournament core four here. Eric, what do you got?
So I thought I was being generous here because I made it my mission to try to get you about 6K per player left on a slate that doesn't have a whole lot of value. And Mike had to go and one-up me at 6.2K. As retribution, I will steal one of his cash core players, the guy that we just spent a few minutes loving up, L. Ellis,
yes.
4.4K. I don't know if you've heard this before. He's playing like 23 minutes a night here, right? So,
30-something recently, 35 recently.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, the volatility's there, right? Like, I think what in particular makes Ellis an interesting tournament play is that typically in these pace-up games, you find most of the ownership going to the marquee players, right? Like people are going to pay up for Battle, they're going to pay up for Mark, and usually pivoting to some pay down options is a really good way to create leverage. So that is really the case as to why Ellis makes his way into the tournament core. Max Asmith, we talked about him earlier, has really no business being 6.8K. He's just far too cheap for his role, for his upside. Oklahoma State is the second worst defense in the Big 12, so you like his individual matchup as well. I got to talk about Osu Ikadoro earlier on the show. Gets that big old haircut down to 7.2K. Put up 29 fantasy points in 35 minutes in the first matchup. Definitely feels like a solid large field option overall. I mean, that 40-point upside is legitimate. We talked about how he can put old Kalkbrenner on some skates tomorrow. Looking forward to watching that game. Last, but certainly not least, a guy that is going to be plenty popular, Dawson Garcia, 7.7K, the forward for Minnesota. You play big men against Penn State. That is etched into the stone tablets of the 2023-24 one-and-done season. He can also reach back and get you 40, 45 points in this spot. So put all that together, it leaves you with $59.75 per player remaining. I thought I was being generous. Mike just had to go out there and one-up me.
All you have to do is take Ellis out and play Finley Bizjack. Paul Lewis.
Then I'm terrified how often Finley Bizjack has been the answer to the question tonight.
Well, that's what tells you the kind of slate it is. I mean,
get all over it. Get all over it. We're going to be all over that King of the Bracket $30 entry there. Make sure you are too. 5K to first. Let's do that too. Commas, not comas, baby. Let's get all over it.
You know this.
The live chat was absolutely flames tonight. Jason, Playmaker 23, Mama Rocks, Ryan, King of the Single Entry, our guy Corey, Steve, Marty, Cam, Scott, and the kid, everybody hanging out in the live chat. We definitely appreciate all of y'all. Make sure if you haven't already, you like and subscribe. Make sure you do like Steve just did and gave me that follow on X, which put me up to 500. Thank you so much, Steve, for doing that. Appreciate you there. I cracked that 500 mark, just like we cracked 800 subscribers here on the Green Screens Media page for One and Done and everything else we're doing. So check us out. Make sure you push all those buttons. We're going to go. Let me go to our guy, the captain, one more time here. A couple of closing thoughts as we wrap this up.
As per usual, if you can figure out the value on this type of slate, then you're going to win a lot of money. Like I mean, we had some people showing love for Ivisic. Yeah, absolutely. Could crush Arkansas. Austin, that's an ugly game. So Ryan, love you, Ryan. Appreciate you always joining us. I would hate to say I'd rather play Arkansas guards, but this is just where we're at, and this is just where we're at. So Austin just too expensive for me in that ugly matchup. So yeah, I think just in large field, just you have to take shots on random stuff going on. Obviously, if you're playing double ups in cash, you just want to get the guys out there that play minutes and that have high floors, and that's something that we try to bring to you guys. So also want to say that at some point I feel like I don't want to be a bridesmaid anymore. No more 27 dresses. Like I want to wear the all white. You know what I mean? So maybe that can happen for us tomorrow. Eric, what are your final thoughts on this?
Baby, let's get married.
I'm just gonna put this out into the universe right now. I think someone from the GSM universe is gonna punch a ticket tomorrow. I got a real good feeling. I feel it down in my loins, down in my grapes. I feel real good about this one. Look, I mean, Mike mentioned having to just be comfortable with taking a shot on some weird value. Like Steve offered up earlier. We do often get some news on a Saturday slate. If that's the case, we can feel a bit better about that value. Or alternatively, we can pull a Jay Heinrich and we can live in the old mid-tier. I gave you two guys, Oso Ighodaro, Darson Garcia, that are 7K players that can get into 40, 45 points, right? Like if those are your most expensive players, you're living in that 5.5 to 7.7 range, you can still put together a lineup that has a fair amount of upside. So something to consider. I know it is very appealing to try to get some of those top tier options in there, but there are guys that are $1,000, $1,300, $1,500 less that have slate breaking upside, and you can put together a pretty nifty mid-tier build. Also, bit of housekeeping here. We asked everyone that was checking in on YouTube, which Illinois player are they prioritizing in a landslide? Terrence Shannon, 53%.
Sign me up for 60% Damask, baby.
Followed by Hawkins, and then all of the leverage with Mike and Damask at 20% flat. So Juicy. Shannon is the starting point, kind of like we talked about when we were breaking down that game. I get the sense that when the rubber meets the road and you got to find $300, pivoting off of Shannon is going to be a pretty popular option tomorrow. But appreciate everyone contributing and answering that poll. Love to hear where y'all's head is at heading into a slate.
Definitely. And since, Eric, you were saying that there's Breadhead's going to get that seat, Steve was saying, good thing he just subscribed. He's getting his third seat tomorrow confirmed now. So, hey, Steve,
I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the next slate then.
Yeah, I might as well not.
Hold on, oh wait, damn it! We have tickets. Damn it.
We got tickets, so we're gonna use it. We'll be in there. Marty manifesting 24 minutes for Ellis tomorrow. Let's do it. Put
it out there.
Because apparently he's going to be good for cash and tournament play because he's that. Just do it.
That just makes him playing good, right?
Yeah, 24 minutes. Just do it.
Or you can just unsubscribe when it doesn't work.
No,
don't do that. Don't do that.
We appreciate it, everybody. Steve, thanks for dropping that into the chat. We appreciate you hanging out. Jason, Playmaker 23, Mama Rocks, Ryan, Corey, Steve, Marty, Cam, Scott, and Ant the Kid all hanging out with us tonight. Hey, make sure Saturday morning slate. Make sure you're checking in on that injury news. Follow us all on Twitter. Follow the show page. And hey, wow, I got a fever, and the only prescription, it's more bread.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.